Hello, Daniel. How are you? Very good. Excellent. Glad the timing worked out for you. Let me quickly set something up. So I bought a new. I wanted the new LaGuardia, so I got a premium mod here for that. So it's got the new finished, quote-unquote, finished LaGuardia. So, all right. And so you can see it's much better looking. It has the actual building designs. Traffic's still not perfect, but all right. Let's go ahead and we will start first flight of the day, cold and dark. That's all good. Cold and dark is good. I'm gonna switch seats here. All right. All right. So gonna come in, check circuit breakers, everything else there. Hydraulics are off. Nose wheel steering is off. Landing gears down. Spoiler stowed, flaps are in agreement. Radars are off. Parking brake, ADG, and gear release are set. EMR flaps are set. We can go ahead and power up the aircraft. All right, so we gotta wait 30 seconds to do a fire test. So we're gonna go ahead and we'll go to the electric page and we'll check for, make sure we have at least 22 volts DC. We do. All right, and we'll make sure we have our nav and our logo on. All right, we'll say 30 seconds is up. We'll go ahead and do a fire test. All right, 353, and fire system test okay is good. All right, that is good. We'll go ahead and get the APU going here. All right, APU is coming up. So we'll do all first flight of the day checks. Do some other tests here. Well, we do that. So we'll go to mask, speaker, turn the volume up, intercom on. All right, and we'll go back to boom, speaker off, and I'll go back, intercom off on that. All right, APU is almost up. And there's a veil. We're up on the APU. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll turn our IRSs on. Let me go over here to make sure it's realistic. I think that's save options there. Where's save options? Save options there. Let's go to performance as well. We'll fill up. All right, and we'll go ahead and do a pause in it. So I think the game needs LaGuardia in there. You don't need it in real life, but we'll put it in there. All right, that's good. All right, and we'll continue with our tests and whatnot. All right, so the stab trim is already disconnected. So that's done. We'll go ahead to hydraulics. And we'll turn on 1, 3B, and 2. Pressures are good. Quantities are good. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and we will go back to our step page. And we'll go ahead and we'll put our stab trim on. All right, stab trim's back on, back to hydraulics. And I'm going to check for depletion. So we're going to go to auto, 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 and 3A doesn't come on yet. And we get depletion. Then 3A is going to come to auto. Very good. All right. Come up. Recirc fan can go on. Packs coming on. Full decrease. And then we'll set for CVG. How the hell did I not fix that? CVG. And then I got to check CVG's. Is 883 feet. So we'll set the landing field elevation. Let's go back to stat. 600. So about 900 should be fine. That's good enough. I could go down 3. 1, 2, 3. It's much easier in the game to do this than it is in the real plane. All right, good. This is a 3-position switch, but only 2 in the game, so we'll leave it where it is. Windshields go to low. All right, we check the emergency lights, so we get EMER lights here. We check down the aisle, make sure they're good, and go to arm. All right. Next thing, I'll make sure all the modes are off, and I'm going to fly from the right side here. So transfer lights on. Go ahead and do a stall test. You got continuous ignition, shaker, pusher. All right, good. Anti-skid test. Gear bay overheat. That was an overheat test there. All right, do a quick lamp test. We don't have to, but we'll do it. Right, disconnects are stowed. Thrust reversers are armed. All right, we will come in, and I'll go ahead and we'll start to grab an ATIS.
LaGuardia Airport information, Kilo 1400 Zulu.
I'm not going to share any. I don't do any commentary. I just let the NTSB do their thing on accidents.
Sky condition, clear.
I don't have the information the NTSB has. I just let the NTSB comment on it.
Altimeter tree 0.00. ILS runway 4 in use. Landing and departing runway 4. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you have Kilo. LaGuardia Airport information, Lima 1400 Zulu. Wind 00 tree at 11. Visibility 10.
Ground Endeavour 5016 IFR to Cincinnati, ready to copy.
Endeavour 5016 is cleared to Cincinnati Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 4, climb and maintain 13,000 feet. Departure frequency is 120.4 squawk 4416.
4416.
Endeavour 5016 cleared to Cincinnati Airport is filed. Takeoff runway 4 climb and maintain 13,000 feet. Departure on 120.4 squawk 4416.
Endeavour 5016 readback is correct. Contact ground on 131.475 when ready to taxi. Good day.
Alright, good. Back to ground services. Alright. Alright, finish up with the stall test. We finished there, went there. Okay, good. We put in 4416. That's good. We'll do a TCAS test. Alright, traffic, spool, traffic there. We'll get a TCAS test okay in a second.
TCAS systems test okay.
044 on the heading. For runway 4, we'll go over the departure in a second. 044. Alright, that's it. TCAS test is okay. Stand by in the backup tuning unit. Mach trim can come on. And we are aligned, so I can go yaw amp on. Alright, nice. PA test. Test 1, 2, test 1, 2. Okay, PA test is complete. Alright, that's good. Let's start filling the box. Alright, that's good. Let's start filling the box. These are two different jobs. One's the pilot flying, one's the pilot monitoring to do these, so I'm doing both of them, so that's kind of why it's a little all over the place. Alright, so first thing we'll do is we'll read the SID. So I'm going to be doing the LaGuardia 7 off of 4. It's going to be the Bronx climb on a heading of 044 up to 500 feet, then a climbing left turn to 360, 5,000 or whatever we've been given, which is 13,000. We are going to park, I believe. Are we going to park? I think we're going to park. Park. If we are going to park, which we are, we cannot exceed 250 until we reach 11,000 feet. All right, so pretty simple there. All right, and let's see, BWZ, BWZ, WZ, and then let's see what that's on. Again, I gotta either get Navigraph back or find a better system to do this. Because I gotta go, I'm trying to go off what they've got. Yeah, let me put it, I can put this actually in my EFB and see what it comes up as. So we'll do that, and then I want to make sure this comes up right. BWZ, BWZ. Because the actual flight plan of the flight that I'm doing here is Park J6 Collins Gavin 7. So was it J6? I think this is the route we're on. J6 Collins Gavin. COLNS. Collins, and then the GAVNN7. Alright, so that's good. So we should have Collins somewhere in here. Collins right there. Alright, good. So I've got BWZ in there. Okay, I put BWZ. BWZ, right? BWZ. Doesn't like that. Why doesn't it want to go direct BWZ? Bravo, Delta, Zulu.
Ground American Tree 152 Heavy request taxi to the gate. American Tree 152 Heavy taxi to gate 47 via taxiway, Golf Bravo Lima Alpha 9 or 8.
PARKE. Alright, let's do this. Alright, why can't I do that? Cancel the mod.
Taxiway, Golf Bravo Lima Alpha 9 or 8, American Tree 152 Heavy.
Come on. BWZ.
Ground Endeavor 49er 6 tree with Lima, ready to taxi IFR. Endeavor 49er 6 tree taxi.
See if that gives me BWZ or not.
Taxiway, Bravo Bravo Alpha Alpha. Contact
yeah, it's got BWZ, so that's fine. It's not showing it, which is weird. And then Park. Direct Park. Okay, so that looks right. I don't know why it's not working. It's not looking right. J6. J6, and then we're going to Collins, COLNS. Collins. Alright, good. Then departure is going to be runway 4.
Endeavor 49er 8 tree, heavy pushback request accepted.
Arrival is going to be Gavin 7, Collins. Alright, and let's go to the flight plan. So direct BWZ, Park, J6, Gavin, Collins. That looks good. Legs page, BWZ, Park, Towan, Kane, Hooten. LRP, same. Flirt, Hyper, and then Collins, likely. Okay. Hyper. Eddie, Collins. Okay, they're all on there. So it's adding the points that the game doesn't know to add. That's fine. All the way to Collins, then we should have Stevie, Fair, J-Biz, Brown, Icy, or Icky, Gavin, Kennedy, Udies.
Hold position, American Tree,
and then that's good.
Heavy.
Alright, and it might not add Bruise because it doesn't know what runway to land on yet, so that's fine. Alright, so that looks good. Let's continue.
Tree heavy, with Lima ready to taxi IFR. Endeavor 49er
Alright, we
A3
are
heavy taxi to and hold short of runway
62544.
via taxiway 16 Alpha 901
Zero
Delta
fuel
5
weight.
Bravo.
We have
Contact
76
tower on 118.7
packs.
when ready.
We'll say we have 3,600 pounds of cargo, and then fuel is going to be 9790.
Roger, American Tree 152 heavy.
And then ISA deviation, we'll worry about that when we get in the air because I don't have a release that actually has the information. Actually, I might be able to. I wonder if I can get it off my weather app.
Endeavor 49er A3 heavy.
I won't worry about it now. It's too much of a pain in the ass. 220. Let's go 400 pounds for taxi. We'll taxi out on 2 engines. APU off. VNAV setup. Let's see. Do they have a filed speed? Not really. Be on the release. Let's do 300 slash 0.77. Cruising altitude is going to be flight level 300. Okay. That looks good. Alright, good. Perf. Visor VNAV's on. Flex, I can't flex, but let's put something in. See, yeah, the game doesn't let me flex. That's fine. Let's go to MFD menu, right side. I want VNAV. That's all good there. And then we'll go to left side. I want on. Next page. Range, altitude's good. Radio, auto-tuned. And we're pretty much clean on that side. So we're good. Let's go to flight plan. We'll copy, so we have a copied flight plan. That looks good. All right, we'll do a PDC validation, which we essentially did, a legs validation, which we did. I'll do a quick brief. Alrighty, so we are on gate 89. We're going to be pushing back, taxiing to runway 4, so likely a 17 Alpha for a spot. Could be 19 Bravo or 19, wherever they taxi us. And then we're looking for probably Alpha to Bravo, Bravo to 4, hold short of 4. We're going to be doing the LaGuardia 7 off of runway 4, going to be the Bronx climb. We're going to climb on a heading of 044 till 500 feet, then a climbing left turn to 360, maintain. In this case, 13,000. We're not going to exceed 250 knots until 11,000 feet. Engine out procedures. Let's see. Engine failure during takeoff. We'll climb via the SID. 1100 will accelerate, retract flaps, MCT, and continue climb. So that's the engine out procedure. Let's see. 7,000 feet of runway. Standard RTO briefing would be given by the captain. That's all done. Let's do a quick weather brief. ATIS in LaGuardia is Zulu 360 at 11 knots. So we're going to have a right crosswind. Sorry, a left crosswind. 10 statute miles, clear, few at 4,000, few at 7,000, scattered 17,000, negative 6 degrees, negative 13 on the dew point, altimeter is 3003. They are landing on runway 31. That's the brief complete. Alright, so let's go ahead and we'll do the pre-flight checklist. Interior and exterior inspection complete. Flight release assigned and sent. Circuit breakers checked. Oxygen checked. Battery master is on. Hydraulic panel is set. Pressurization is set. Windshield heat is low. Passenger signs on. ICAS checked. Flight nav instruments are checked. Altimeters are 3003. Cross-checked. Nose wheel steering's off. Thrust reverser armed. Radar is off. Parking brake set. Flight temperature is complete. Departure brief complete. Logbook QRH on board. Fuel required. Let's say we need, I don't know, 7,000, and we have 9.7 on board. On board's 9.7. Pre-flight checklist complete. All right, good. So that is that done. Let's make sure I get a couple things done. I want. Why is there no traffic on there? Let's go terrain. terrain. And do I have traffic ticks? Hard to see. It's easier in the real plane to see the traffic ticks. Why do I not have traffic ticks? TCAS, auto, standby, traffic on, above. Absolute test norm return. Okay. Make sure that tests out again. I gotta do a CVR test.
TCAS system test OK.
Alright, TCAS test okay. I'm just not getting the traffic ticks. I'll check it in a second. Alright, fire tests we did. Hydraulic test is complete. Ice detector test I did not do, so I forgot. Oh, Jesus Christ, I hate it when it does that. Ice detector test, we'll test that. Alright, ice detector test is complete. Emergency lights test, stall, CVR, oxygen mask, overhead, TCAS, aileron, trim rudder, I'm not going to bother. PA, and we'll do the fuel valve on push. Alright, so all the first flight of the day checks are complete. Let's see why traffic isn't showing right. Alright. Yeah, I don't know why the traffic ticks aren't on, but they're on over here. You can see the ticks. Don't know. Alright, that's good. Alright, so gate agent is going to go ahead and pull the jet bridge.
Ground Endeavor 5016, could you please disconnect the jetway from the aircraft?
We'll close up cargo and galley. Alright, railings are going up for evac purposes and doors closing.
Captain, the cabin is secure. All passengers are aboard.
Alright, close lock the door.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the captain and
Check the
crew,
doors
welcome aboard
page.
this flight. We hope you enjoy flying with us. Before
Check, make
takeoff,
sure the emergency exit is locked.
display the safety features of the aircraft. Brickyard 5874 heavy request to end pushback received.
Okay, just looking over my overhead panel. And then we're going to try it on 2. It should be on 2, but game's been not liking that, so we'll see what it does. Alright, next thing, gate agent's going to close out the flight. Gate agent's going to input all the weights, so we'll get those. Then we would enter in our numbers. It just takes too long to do it in game. It's kind of a pain in the ass to do it in game, but you do some of your target speeds here, you do some of your target speeds here, you step through them, and you can turn them with this knob, but let's put them in there. It's easier and quicker there. Alright, so we have our target weights. Alright, so now we can do a pushback checklist. Doors are closed. Flight deck door closed, lock, fuel pumps are on, transponder is 2. Alright, good. Alright, so we go ahead and next thing we do is call for push.
Ground Endeavor 5016 requesting pushback.
Endeavor 5016
Alright,
pushback
beacon
request
is on.
accepted.
Brakes are off. Nose wheel steering's off. Clear to push. And let's see. Yeah, so this is the mod that I bought that it's got the actual proper LaGuardia look to it.
Ground Endeavor 5016 requesting pushback tug to steer the aircraft to the right.
Endeavor 5016, your request has been transmitted to the operator.
Alright, good. Let's go ahead and we're going to start up both. So, alright, so first flight of the day, we're going to start the left engine. Alright, there goes the timer. We have to do our fuel check valve test. Normally you'd start the right one first. Alright.
Ground Endeavour 5016 requesting the end of pushback.
Endeavour 5016 request to end pushback received.
Alright, so we got left and right pump on. That's first part of our test. Alright, 246. Should get pump, pump, press. Pump, pump, press. Okay, good. Now we're going to go ahead and we can start the right engine.
In case of a drop in cabin pressure, breathing masks will drop from the ceiling and should be placed over your head. If there is smoke in the cabin during the evacuation of the aircraft, the walkway emergency lights will display to the exits, which are located here and here. In case of an
Yeah, I think they're AI voices. Yeah, they're definitely AI voices because they go as your something AI is not working sometimes.
We would also like to remind you that you should turn off all electronic devices. We thank you for paying attention during this brief presentation.
Right, and now you see they switched to vibration indicators. That means that we had good engine starts. Alright, good. Alright, now I can go ahead and do after start. So we're just checking everything, make sure it's where I want it. We don't have any rain. We can put on the cowls now if we needed to, but we're not going to do it now. I can shut the APU off. Alright, probes are coming on. Alright. We're going to go down and we're going to check our electrical, make sure that the loads are being carried. They are AC and DC. We're going to go to flight controls. Right there. And then the captain is going to do the rudder check. So all the way to the right, centered, to the left, centered, nose wheel steering comes on. Alright, and then we're going to go back to status page and after start checklist. Fuel pump set, bleeds, air conditioning panel set, anti-ice off. Probes are on, electrics checked. Nose wheel steering is armed, aft start checklist complete. Alright, call for the flaps. Let's do a flaps 20 takeoff. Alright. Wait for those to come all the way out. So this is the slats portion of it here, and this is the flaps. So flaps are now at 20. We'll go back to flight controls. And I'll do my control check. And I got to put in the trim. So would have done that with the other stuff. It prompts you with the information you get, so I don't have it. I don't have a release, so I kind of have to. The release normally will remind you. A-Cars has it, but 6.8. Okay, good. Alright, back to status page, and that's going to call for the taxi checklist. Flaps are 20, 20, 20, takeoff speed, set, thrust, set, trims are centered, 6.8, flight controls are checked, taxi checklist complete. Alright, good. We can get track IR on, and I will be ready to copy the taxi instructions here. So let's get... Let's actually get track IR on first and fixed. Alright, we're cozy with that. Alright, good. Alright, let's go ahead and call for taxi.
Ground Endeavour 5016 with Lima ready to taxi IFR.
Endeavour 5016 taxi to and hold short of runway 4 using taxiway 19er 15 Alpha 9er 1 Delta 5 Bravo.
What?
Contact tower
Doesn't
on
make any sense.
118.7 when ready.
Those taxi instructions make no sense.
Taxi to and hold short runway 4 via taxiway 19er 15 Alpha 9er 1 Delta 5 Bravo Endeavour
That doesn't make any sense.
5016.
I'm looking at the taxi diagram. That makes no sense. I'll give us proper... so I think what they're doing here, I know what they're doing. They're telling us the spots. That's not what they should be doing. We would tell them what spot we're on. The spots are controlled by the gate. Alright. So we're presently around spot 19. They want us to exit at 15. Okay. Then they want us to go alpha. Alpha 9. What? Alpha 91. What? That, yeah, that doesn't make any sense either. That's pretty silly. Alpha Delta Phi Bravo. That doesn't make any sense either. That's again gameisms. Bravo. So we're gonna. I'll tell you the instructions. So what we would do is we'd push and we'd tell them that we are at. We're presently around spot. Let's see. It shows right here. 19 alpha. So that's 19 alpha. If we look over here, here's 16. So they want us to go out 15. So we'll go out 15. And then alpha. And then the other stuff's bullshit to Bravo. So we'll go 15 November Bravo down. So the game's not good at taxi instructions. So we'll go ahead and do that ourselves because the game's no good at it. Alright. Our parking brake's off. Alright, so we'll come out on 15. So we would call them. Cat's standing in front of the track IR, so making it so it's not working. Alright, so here's 15. That's spot 15. So again, we shouldn't be, like, ground doesn't control the ramp. Ramp controls the ramp. So it'd be here. Unless they're using some of these spots, they're numbered. I doubt it. Yeah, it could be them trying to use those. I don't know. We'll have to see. Now we're on Bravo. But this looks a lot better than the default game. Alright, now we're on Bravo, and we follow Bravo all the way down. So this is the pack I bought, or the mod I bought. You can see that everything looks a lot better. You know, it's $20 just for this pack, so it's it should look a hell of a lot better. You can see the that's the new Bravo terminal. You can see it looks pretty cool. And we got traffic right in front of us. Let's see what they do. I'm also interested in Beyond ATC. I'm going to go over to Alpha because they can't control this traffic for shit in game. So we'll pretend they told us to go over to Alpha. Yeah, to Alpha. I got to turn him on Alpha now. This other traffic. See where he turns. We're going to turn him behind him. They usually run these as one-ways. So, again, I would like the simulator to focus on simulator, but LaGuardia is my main airport, so that's why I went ahead and bought this pack. You can see better welcome to New York sign there. The piers are better. You'll see the piers kind of when you fly over. The bridge is better. Like, if you look, the bridges in game are terrible because they are, like, taken off Google Maps. And they have stuff under them. If you look, that bridge over to Rikers Island is much better detailed. There's Rikers Island over there. Alright, once I get straight, you can see the city over there. I guess the American gates actually work. I spent way too much time in those American hangars when I was based in LaGuardia the first time. That was where the quiet rooms were for Ready Reserve. Alright, good. Alright, I'm in the back. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for departure. Alright, let's go to our flight plan page. Alright, runway 4. Runway 4. LaGuardia 7. First fix is going to be BWZ. Alright, we're going to be in heading of 044, heading mode up to 500 feet, and then a left turn to 360. We're going to climb up to 13,000 feet, and we cannot accelerate past 250 until 11,000 feet. Alright, before takeoff, checklists. Flaps are 20, 20. Takeoff config OK. Flight attendants notified and acknowledged. Fuel cross flows manual. APU and bleeds are off and open. Ignition's off. Any ice off. Brake temperature check. FMS auto tune. ICAS check clear. Radar terrain is going to be terrain. Runway departure first fix verified. Takeoff briefing's complete. Before takeoff checklist complete. Alright, nice. So we're ready to go. Alright, so this is the ILS critical area. You would not need to hold short of this unless people are doing Cat 2s. And the visibility is really low. Like, somebody could be shooting a Cat 2 in this clear weather, but, you know, you would have to advise ETC that you're doing that. Alright, and then departure, I put here's 120.4. Alright, 120.4 is in there.
Brickyard 5669er heavy contact New York departure on 124 decimal for 5. Good day. decimal for 5 Brickyard 5669er heavy. Goodbye. Southwest 16 tree for heavy altimeter, tree 0 decimal 00 wind 00 tree at 11. Cleared for takeoff runway 4.
Tower Endeavour 5016 at runway 4 ready for departure IFR to Cincinnati.
Endeavour 5016 line up and wait.
I line up and wait. Alright, if you look over there, that's the old Marine terminal. That's where Spirit, Frontier, and all the low-cost carriers are.
Endeavour 5016, did you hear my last
Yeah, I'm busy here.
Line up and wait, Endeavour 5016.
Endeavour 5016 altimeter, tree 0 decimal 00 wind 00 tree at 11. Cleared for takeoff runway 4.
Cleared for takeoff runway 4, Endeavour
Alright, runway
5016.
Set thrust. Thrust set. Doing both people's calls here. 80 knots. Yeah, not yet. 80 knots. Checks. V1. Rotate.
United 623, heavy ready for IFR departure runway 4.
Positive rate. Gear up.
United 623, heavy line up
Speed
and
mode.
wait.
Heading mode. Heading climb. Alright.
Line up and wait, United 623.
And there's 500 feet. We're going to turn.
Endeavour 5016 contact New York departure on 120 decimal 4. Good day.
And autopilot on.
Tower Brickyard 4419er, heavy ready for IFR departure runway 4.
Track hour is coming off here.
Going to 120 decimal 4, Endeavour 5016.
United 623, heavy altimeter 30.00, wind 00 tree at 11. Cleared for takeoff runway 4. Endeavor 4.
Alright, V2 plus 12, flaps 8. Climb thrust.
New York departure Endeavor 5016 is at 2,300 feet climbing.
Alright,
13,000
VT minus
feet.
15, flaps up.
Endeavor 5016 New York, departure altimeter 30.00, radar contact continue. Endeavor 5016 traffic is 7 o'clock 4 miles at 300 feet Airbus A20N. Report them in sight. Endeavor 5016 reset.
Yeah, it's gonna, transponder doesn't like being over there.
4416.
It's annoying, I gotta see.
Endeavor 5016, climb and maintain flight level 180.
Doing two people's jobs here.
New York
Oh,
departure
you
United
motherfucker.
623 Heavy is passing 1,500 feet, climbing 7,000 feet. United 623 Heavy New York, departure altimeter 30.00, radar contact continue. United 623 Heavy traffic is 9 o'clock 4
Very
miles
annoying.
at 4,200 feet. Report them in sight.
Climb and maintain flight level 180 Endeavor 5016.
Alright, after takeoff checklist.
United 623 Heavy traffic in sight.
After takeoff checks complete. Item 18,000. You see, here's LaGuardia where we took off from. Manhattan. So that's what the bridges normally look like. They got shit under them. So this one fixed the bridge.
New York departure Endeavor 5016
I'm gonna see if they want
requesting
me on
vector to next
to
waypoint.
turn on heading.
Endeavor 5016, continue to Bravo
There we
Whiskey Zulu turning and following heading 280, resume on navigation.
Continue to Bravo Whiskey Zulu turning and following heading 280, proceed on course
Nav
Endeavor
mode.
5016.
FMS 2. Alright, and we can't accelerate past 250 until above 11,000 because we're going to park. So they never told me to turn on course, but that's why I
Endeavor
prompted them.
5016, contact New York Center on 121.125. Good day.
1 1.25.
One 121.125 Endeavor 5016. Goodbye. New York Center Endeavor 5016 is passing 10,500 feet, climbing flight level 180.
Endeavor 5016, New York Center altimeter 30.01, radar contact. Continue to Bravo Whiskey Zulu. Brickyard 5669er heavy climb and maintain flight level 290.
Alright, there's 11. And we can accelerate.
Climb and maintain flight level 290, Brickyard 5669er heavy. New York Center Exejet 939er is passing flight level 410, climbing flight level 430.
No, I don't think you can. Not in
Endeavor
2020.
5016, contact New York Center on 133.15.
3315.
Good day. Exejet 939er, New York Center radar contact. Continue.
Yeah, it'd be fun if you could have another pilot.
133.15 Endeavor 5016. Goodbye. New York Center Endeavor 5016 is at 13,100 feet, climbing flight level 180.
Endeavor 5016, New York Center altimeter 30.01, radar contact. Continue to Bravo Whiskey Zulu.
Get a little bit of music going here. Alright.
Endeavour 5016 climb and maintain flight level 260.
260.
Climb and maintain flight level 260, Endeavour 5016.
Alright, getting ready for switching over. Alright, barometers are going standard. And want to make sure we're on guard, 2015. And we'll monitor on nav 2. And we can shut the lights off. Alright, climb checklist. Altimeter standard cross check. Climb check is complete. Yeah, co-op would be cool. I don't think you can, though. Let me do a Google search. It says, flying in tandem with friends, certainly, if you both want to see each other in game.
New York Center
Now,
Southwest 163 for heavy is passing 13,100 feet.
yeah, it doesn't look like
flight
it.
level 230. Southwest 163 for heavy New York Center altimeter
Not the way we're
30.02
thinking.
radar contact. Continue.
Okay, the traffic dashes are on. I just couldn't see them before. See these dashes? That's the traffic dashes. So if I press traffic, see the dashes go away? So they're just harder to see in flight sim than they are in real life. Alright, so we can start doing some of this stuff. So, 59 knot
New York
headwind.
Center Brickyard 5669er heavy is
So,
passing
59 knot
12,100
headwind.
feet, climbing flight level 190. Brickyard 5669er heavy New York Center
So that's
altimeter
going to be
30.02
minus
radar
59, we'll
contact.
say.
Continue.
Climb. Quickly
Brickyard
check the ice.
5669er heavy contact New York Center on 121.125. Good day. Endeavour 5016
Dust.
climb and maintain flight level 300.
300. That's our final.
Climb and maintain flight level 300, Endeavour 5016.
Alright,
Landing 4507 traffic
try
is
negative
5 o'clock
42.
per mile at 16,900 feet Airbus A20N. Report them in sight.
for ISA deviation. Based off the SAT.
Heavy traffic is 10 o'clock per mile at 14,100 feet.
You would get those all if you release, and I don't have them,
Report them in
so
sight.
kind of have to do them in flight.
Planet 4507
You know, you can
traffic
get,
in
I think
sight.
with some of the Navigraph and stuff like that, you can do it. Yeah, I think co-op is the best feature you could have in these types of games. You know, because it would really, like, you can fly with a friend, you can just quickly, like, somebody can jump on and do, like, and jump off during cruise and just kind of sit there. It would be really good to be able to do it co-op. I don't think it works well. I don't think it works, but that would be the best thing, is to have co-op for this.
New York Center Spirit Wings 1680 heavy 9,800 feet. Spirit Wings 1680 heavy.
You know,
New
this
York Center altimeter
mod's pretty good,
30.01
but there are some things
radar
here and there that are
contact.
wrong.
Continue to
For
turn.
example, there's a 3-position switch. Should be off, air, and con air. That's wrong. Some of the things are simisms, like if I press that light stays on. That's not how it really works. You have to press and hold it, but it makes so you don't have to hold it in game. You can just press it, which is convenient. what else? There's a bunch of other stuff that doesn't work correctly. Like some stuff is small things, like how long it takes for hydraulic pressure to deplete, but that could be sped up so it's not so boring waiting for it. Stuff like that. What's our speed? We're coming up on 0.74. So 0.74, we're going to switch from indicator airspeed to Mach. And Mach 0.74. There we go. We're over to Mach. Through 280, we're going to do our RBSM check. So this is going to be wrong because I can't run on transponder 1 for some reason. Something's wrong with the game. But you want to make sure the transponder's coupled to the correct side the autopilot's on. So transponder 2 and autopilot on the right side. And you want to make sure the altimeters are within 200 feet of one another. They are. RBSM checks complete out of 290 for 300.
Heavy contact New York Center on 118.975. Good day.
And we're going to go ahead and cruise at
Endeavour 5016 contact New York Center on 124.625.
24.6 and a quarter. 24.
118.975.
6 and a quarter. Oh, come on. Urgh, this game.
Goodbye.
Everything is the scroll wheel, so if we're all in the wrong thing, it screws it up.
At flight level 400 Airbus A20N. Report them in sight.
124.625 Endeavour 5016. Goodbye. New York Center Endeavour
Wish I could figure this.
5016 flight level 300.
So again, we have
Endeavour 5016 New York
on
Center,
altitude,
radar contact.
flight ID,
Continue to
that's
depart.
fine. Squawk. Display squawk, flight ID, that's fine. See, this is the thing is, I should be able to run this on transponder 2 because it's still it's showing the rate 4416, but it doesn't work right for some reason. I don't know why it doesn't work in the game. Altitude's on, flight ID is correct. Yeah, I don't know why it won't do it. It complains that it's not reading my transponder if I try to do it on the right side, which should be correct.
Center Allegiant 216 Heavy is at 7,100 feet, climbing 13,000.
Alright, so I'm going to put an approach in there just to get this thing to be quiet at me, or so I can actually see rivals. So let's check CVG's weather.
Allegiant 216 Heavy contact
So we'll get a new ATIS by the time we arrive, but
Good day.
slow down just a little bit.
New York Center United 563
So Cincinnati, Information, India, 28013, 5 statute miles, light snow, broken at 1100, minus 12 degrees, minus 15, dew point 3038.
United 563 Heavy contact New York Center on 134.45.
Should shut up for 2 seconds and make it easy for me to
Good
talk.
day.
Simultaneously approaches in use, expect ILS to 36 center. All aircraft shall read back runway. Hold short instructions, notice to air. Missions, runway 36 center. Inner marker, out of service. Bird activity vicinity of the airport. ILS 36 center is what they're expecting.
Is 12 o'clock, 1 mile at flight level 400 Airbus A20N. Report them in sight.
36 center. And we'll put the full thing in there. So now it's giving us a time. Do I put that in? It'll give us a time. So hour 13 minutes.
Airbus 1 Whiskey Alpha traffic alert. 12 o'clock, less than 1 mile. Flight level 400 Airbus A20N.
Doing the Gavin 7.
Report them in sight.
Alright, Collins, Fair, J-Biz, Barrow.
New York Center United 563 Heavy is passing 13,300 feet, climbing 14,000 feet.
Should be quiet for 2 seconds here. Stand by.
Mountain 831 contact New York Center on 133.15. Good day.
See, the problem is I'm listening on radio 1. I should be listening on radio 2. I don't know why it's doing that. The game just isn't smart enough to do that. Get across J-Biz above 24. Checking our speed. Below Gavin at 17. we're going to be landing 36 left, center, or right, which means we're going from Udi's to Doggy. And so our first hard altitude is going to be 8,000 at Doggy.
Goodbye.
Call me. No. Yeah. I turned her down, then I couldn't hear.
Airbus 1 Whiskey Alpha have the traffic.
All right. So let's make sure we're good here. So it should be Gavin Kennedy, Doggy right there. Doggy. Yep. And then vectors to, then I put the full thing in. So I can easily cut it out if I need to. But that has all the approach points. Bring up the approach. 36 center. So I got all the way out there to FLM, which is Falmouth. So if they want us to go to any of the intermediary points, I have them in there, so they're all in. So that works. All right, 876 54 2400. And then JTIV is the final approach X right there. And there's the mist. Now that looks good. And we'll leave the discontinuity in there so that it doesn't automatically take us from, this shouldn't have a discontinuity. Eddie to Collins should not have a discontinuity. Let me double check it. Shouldn't have a discontinuity in there. Eddie to Collins, I gotta fix that. That was because I put the approach in.
New York Center Brickyard 4511 Heavy is at 13,000.
Yeah, that shouldn't have a discontinuity in there.
15,000 feet. Brickyard 4511 Heavy, New York Center altimeter tree 0.0 tree radar contact. Continue to Biley.
Check, make sure. Yeah, Eddie to Collins had a discontinuity. I fixed that. And then we do want the discontinuity here. From Doggy, we're going to get vectors. And then we'll pick wherever they want to send us in there. Anything else on the star that I need to know? Let's see. Nope.
New York Center, Delta 2019.
No speed restrictions to put in.
265 climbing flight level tree 40.
Pretty simple.
Endeavour 5016 contact New York Center on 135.45. Good day. Delta 2019er heavy New York Center radar contact continue. American 209er 5 heavy traffic is 9 o'clock 4 miles at flight level 200 Airbus A20N. Report them in sight.
Going to 135.45, Endeavour 5016. New York Center, Endeavour 5016, flight level 300.
Endeavour 5016 New York Center radar contact. Continue to Lima Romeo Papa.
Alright, we need to start doing our fuel checks. So we want to go to MFD, not MFD, MFD data, and then advanced. Now there's something in the real plane you don't get in this again, is I should be able to go previous page until I can get my brake release fuel. I can't get it. So I'll just go to next, and what I'm looking for is fuel trends here. Oh, let's go to the right page here. Previous page. Yeah, it's not going to let me go. It doesn't let me go previous.
Heavy contact Philadelphia approach on 126.
And then runway, where the hell is it? Runway 36, we should have 5,600 pounds there, so we have plenty of fuel. So we have plenty of fuel for this. So if you had bad fuel trends, if you were like looking like you're burning a lot extra fuel, you talk to dispatch, see if you need to stop, see what's up. Maybe the winds are worse. They would run the numbers, and hey, you're not going to make it. You need to stop somewhere for fuel. So. So we'll see if
019er Heavy New York Center radar
See if
contact
the weather improves in CVG. It's not bad. We have 6 statute miles. Okay, it just let me see. The weather just updated. It's only 4 minutes old now. It was 31 minutes old before. We now have information. Juliet 290 at 10, 6 statute miles, light snow, scattered at 1300. Yep, so it's good. Still 3-6 center. All right, and it's gonna take us, let's see, hour 10 to get there.
5016 contact New York Center on 132.5.
So definitely have another 8 us in before we get there. And let's see what our gate is. It's too early to send for a gate. We'd send about 30 prior to get our gate, but we know we're going to be landing at Bravo 17.
Endeavor 5016, did you copy?
No, I'm ignoring you mostly.
132.5 Endeavor 5016.
5.
Goodbye. New York Center Endeavor 5016 flight level 300.
Endeavor 5016 New York Center radar contact. Continue to Lima Romeo Papa.
Yeah, like the sim that I would most want is to have like a proper like space trucking game where like you have some really cool spaceships that are as complicated as like say this plane is. Like you have to know all what the buttons and the systems do because that gives you some depth. You know, like I went through months to learn this airplane in real life, but it's you know, it doesn't take that long to learn it quickly for just sim purposes, you know. Make an announcement. We're leveled off. Do that. It would be the captain in this case doing it, but yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the fast seatbelt sign. We expect a smooth ride here for the next little bit. We do ask that while you are seated in your seats, you do have your seatbelt fastened for your own safety. Again, we appreciate you joining us today. We should be in Cincinnati in about an hour. Weather is reasonably clear, a little bit of snow showers, some low clouds at 1,300. Temperature is very cold. It's minus 12 degrees. We'll give you an update when we get a little bit closer. Again, thank you and enjoy the flight. Another thing is when I switch off PA and go back, this light auto turns off, so that's another thing they have wrong. This is all about. I don't have one of these at HGS. That's all about. Another option we have over here.
FlexJet 664 Heavy is at 5,600 feet, climbing 6,400.
All right, so this is kind of the quiet part of the flight. There's not much to do here. Kind of chilling and cruising. No point in briefing yet. You can see our top of descent is all the way up here somewhere. If we look, JBiz is, we start the approach, or we start the arrival at Collins, which is here, but our top of descent won't come until over here. So top of descent is 49 minutes away. So if we look at our time, is an hour and 6, so we're talking 17 minutes.
Juliet Tango traffic is 1 o'clock
So we won't start the descent till 17 minutes before we
Report them in sight.
arrive.
Flexjet 664, heavy traffic, is 10 o'clock 3 miles at 1,600 feet Cessna Skyhawk. Report them in sight. Endeavour 5016, contact New York Center on 132.2.
322.
Good day. Flexjet 664, heavy traffic in sight.
132.2 Endeavour 5016. Goodbye.
Cessna 9er.
New York Center Endeavour 5016 flight level 300.
Endeavour 5016, New York Center radar contact. Continue to hyper.
And I know our gate. We wouldn't know our gate yet, but I know it, so I'm just going to put it in on my diagram. So I have it. 17, huh? Right there. Alright, so we're going to try to, if we can, keep rolling to Kilo or Juliet. Kind of the plan. And hopefully get a Juliet all the way to the gate. And I'm looking to see if I have ramp frequency. Yep. 130375. And actually, we'd probably talk to, I'm not going to put up company frequencies, but we'll put the ramp control on there. You call company at some point, make sure your gate. And 375. That's going to be ramp frequency there on 2. Oh yeah. Goodbye.
Speed 438. You are 43 miles north. Descend and maintain 5,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 23 approach by an
Yeah, that would be my dream game. Is to kind of have a proper, like, not a cartoony ass space trucker, like a proper space trucking sim. Like, you know, have different types of vehicles, kind of like how you'd have in real life. You'd have like the box truck that they load the actual ship, you know, with boxes or pallets. You know, have kind of like tugs that move large, either spindles full of cargo, or large, like say, space station parts, and those get loaded and pushed. You know, stuff like that. And then have really intricate systems. You know, so that you actually get to be a pilot, get proficient. Kind of like, I really think Derail Valley did a great job on like how intricate each one of the locomotives are. They serve their own job. There is some small overlaps so that you could use something else, but it's still best to always use the best vehicle for the job. All right, I can do a couple more things here. Let's go to perf. Let's check the wind up here. Wind is currently pretty much a direct headwind, so minus 74 on the wind. And then I'll fix the ice on a negative, what is it, 46? 46. looks good. So that's just mostly updating my my fuel. So still we're looking at 5138 in there, so we have lots of fuel.
Endeavor 5016, contact Washington Center on 134.15. Good day.
13445. 13415. 13415. 13415.
134.15, Endeavor 5016. Goodbye.
Some of the
Washington Center,
so for example, there was a game I was
5016,
watching
flight
somebody
level
play this
300.
morning. That was pretty good.
Endeavor 5016, Washington Center radar contact, continue.
It was one of the ATC simulators, and it was like the AI voice recognition was really good, so you could tell the planes where to go with your voice, and they would follow it. And so that's the sort of thing that I think is really cool for some of the stuff. Say 20. Yeah, I think it was worth it to buy that LaGuardia thing so far. It really makes it look better. Look at this baby kitten. Tiny baby kitten. Needs all this love. I know, honey. Oh, very cool, yeah. Yeah, I really like Derail Valley. I really would like them to add pasture stuff. They're doing it. They actually, if you look on their Steam page, they're actually, they're looking for people to hire. They're hiring right now, so they're looking for people to work for them. So they've got a lot of things they want to do. It's just, you know, I think they're understaffed. You know. So they want, you know, they pretty much went a year without really, they did a little bit of talking to the community, but it was mostly like, they really, it took them a year to kind of do some things, and they were good things. I'm glad they did them. Good games going in the right direction. It's just, it takes a while when you don't have a big team, you know? Alright, let's see, we should be in there in 57 minutes. So, top of descent is 40 minutes. Again, one thing that's kind of annoying to me is I have to manually work these. So the way these arrivals work in real life, let's see if I can bring up a Gavin 7. Alright, we're going to start the approach in 39 minutes. So it's a little bit early to brief it, but again, you get time. Okay, here's the Gavin. This is the Gavin 6. And That's NASA charts, not Jepson charts. They're bringing it up on AirNav. They used to have them all on AirNav. I don't think they have them on here anymore, which kind of sucks. Oh, there it is. All right, Gavin 7 right there. All right, I can bring it up and show you. These are NASA charts, not JEPs, which I wish they were JEPs, but that's all right. All right, so we'll bring these up here in a second. You got to pay for JEP, or you have to work for a company that pays for your JEPs. Let's see, Gavin 7. I'll bring them up so you can see in a second here. Alright, so this is the Gavin 7 arrival. We're coming in at Collins, Stevie, Fair. We got to cross JBiz above flight level 240, BROW, Icky, and then Gavin below 17,000. And then from there, here's Gavin, Kennedy, Udi's. We're going to be landing runway 36 center, so we're going to go from Udi's, which we need to be above 9,000, and we're going to go to Doggy at 8,000. And then once we hit Doggy, we're going to go for vectors. So if you go down here and you go landing 36 from Udi's, 276, Doggy 8,000, then a track of 276, expect radar vectors, final approach course. So that's the expected routing there. So what they would do in real life is they would say at some point to us when we're close to top of descent, Endeavour 5016, you're cleared the Gavin 7. Let me see. You're cleared to descend via the Gavin 7 arrival.
Contact Washington Center on 120.65.
2065. Always I'm talking, they want to give me a freak change. I could bring out the chart and know when they're going to tell me the freak change, but it's not worth doing.
.65 Endeavour 5016. Goodbye. Washington Center Endeavour 5016 flight level 300.
Endeavour 5016 Washington Center radar contact. Continue to COLNS.
So they would say, Endeavour 5016 cleared to descend via the Gavin 7. And so I would then be able to descend when I want to meet all the restrictions of the Gavin 7. So with that in mind, let me see if I can bring it up. So what I would do is I'd put in my first hard altitude, which is Doggy at 8,000. So I'd spin into 8,000. I have some other crossing restrictions I have to worry about. I got to be above 240 at JBiz, which will definitely be because we won't start top of descent until over here somewhere. Gavin, I need to be below 17,000. So when they tell me descend via, I would put in 8,000. And then the first one I really have to worry about is being below 17,000 at Gavin. And I would use my direct intercept page and put that in and follow it to make sure I meet these. And then that would set me up to be on course. Well, the problem is the quote-unquote simulator is not very good at this. So what I have to do is when I get close to top of descent, I have to ask to descend down 8,000. So that way I'm kind of giving myself the clearance they should be giving me. And then I'll show you so we briefed that. We'll say that's a brief. And then I'll quickly brief the ILS here. So ILS, localizer runway 36 center. I don't like briefing it off of the NASA charts. I'd rather use the JEP charts, but we'll do it off here. Localizer is 109.9. Final approach course 006. We have 11,000 feet. Touchdown zone elevations 851. LSF 2s. Misapproach. Published mission is going to be climb to 1,500, then climbing left turn 3,000 via the CVG 010 to NEATS and hold. Likely they'll give us something different. Nothing we really need there. MSA is 2,900 all around. We might come in on Falmouth, come across, and then join Alley, Critter, Puppet. Alley's 87654. Glide slope intercepts 2,400 at JITY. Let's see. We are Class Delta, and we're going to be doing the right here. So 1015 is going to be decision height on that, which is 200 feet above. So 1051 is our, so we're going to do an MDA of 1060.
Endeavour 5016, contact Washington Center on 133.2.
332.
Good day. Washington Center Brickyard Tree 654 Heavy is passing flight level 1905, climbing flight level 230.
At least we got the brief done.
Brickyard Tree 654 Heavy Washington Center radar contact. Continue.
Yeah, I much prefer jet charts.
133.2 Endeavour 5016. Goodbye.
So we got a lot of that briefing done already.
Washington Center Endeavour 5016 flight level 300.
Alright, so we're going to go to MDA, and it was
Endeavour 5016 Washington Center radar
1060.
contact. Continue to COLNS.
Alright, so MDA 1060 set. I'm not going to bother putting it in on the other side. But you put it on both sides. It's going to be a visual approach, likely, for a lot of it. Not completely visual. We'll break out at 1700. But that's in. What was the freak? I'm going to use my JEP chart for the rest of it.
Endeavour 5016, contact Washington Center on 133.65.
3365. That's convenient. 165 is already in.
133.65 Endeavour 5016. Goodbye. Washington Center Endeavour 5016 flight level 300.
Endeavour 5016 Washington Center radar contact. Continue to COLNS.
I'm just doing something here. What the hell? Alright, so let's see, 1099. Alright, 1099. 1099 for the freaks, that's all in. Alright, good. So, top of descent's 30 minutes, so we're all briefed up. We've got the,
Endeavour 5016 traffic is 11 o'clock, 4 miles at flight level
Constant.
320, Airbus A20N.
I try to say something, she talks. Fucking see him, I don't care either. Not in sight.
Endeavour
Not calling anybody
5016
inside
traffic
anyway.
not in sight.
Let ATC. I don't ever call anybody in sight unless they're past me, because again, you call the wrong person in sight, you have an accident. Not good. So, all right, so that's in. So yeah, we got our star briefed. We've got our approach briefed. So that's the briefing we need to get done, which is good. All right, so how far out are we? We are about 48 minutes. Let's see what the hour is. So currently it's 21 past. So we will get one final ATIS, but we'd send for the ATIS. We could send for the most recent ATIS now, which I can just pick up. That is still Juliet, 29 minutes old, so that could last for another half an hour. I put in my runways to get my numbers. Alright, so do that so we can set all these. I'll set them manually. So V2 is 148. So this doesn't necessarily work exactly how it works in real world here. So 148 is V2, so we push on this. Should see, this doesn't work the way it would in real life.
5016, traffic alert. 12 o'clock, less than 1 mile, flight level tree 20, Airbus A20N. Report them in sight.
Yeah, I'm not calling anybody in sight, so just, you can...
Endeavor 5016, traffic not in sight.
So the way this would work in real life is I would go to target speed for VT, and I'd press on this, and I should get something. I don't get anything, so I can't enter it in. And then you go select, and you go through. Right, same thing. You press on this, select to go through. You can't do that. It's not working. It doesn't work right in game. And you would clear out the ones you don't need. So I'm just going to do set all. That's going to set my V2, my VT, my VFTO. And then my VREF is 139. I put those in manually here. So 139 at the runway. So right here, 139. I just cycled when I was moving it. 139 there, and then we add 5 to that, so 144. And that's going to go at the final approach fix, which is right there. So those are my speeds coming in, 144, 139. And the other two, VT and V2 are set in. That's going to be if I have to go around. So those are in. So we have to send for those numbers. We'd also send for the gate. And then we get our gate. So we already know our gate, which is Bravo 17. So I'm going to come in the box here. And let's put it in there. Now we have Bravo 17, so we know what our gate is. We don't have to remember it. Or hunt around looking for paper, or if the captain's like, what gate are we going to? It's already right in front of us. And then we already have the ramp frequency in there.
Endeavor 5016 don't have the traffic.
Behind us now, anyway. Alright, so top of descent is in 27 minutes or 172 nautical miles.
Endeavor 5016, contact Washington Center on 128.6.
86.
.6, Endeavor 5016. Goodbye. Washington Center, Endeavor 5016, flight level 300.
Endeavor 5016, Washington Center, radar contact. Continue to steady.
Alright, not much else to do. We're just kind of hanging until we get our descent going. Yeah, exactly, Daniel. Like Daniel's talking about, like, B-Rail Valley just doesn't have the, it doesn't have the marketing budget, or the budget to be super huge, and doesn't have the size and the workforce to get it done. But, yeah, they do a good job with what they have. You know, a lot of these indie games are so great just because, like, they can laser focus on something, and they don't have to recoup a ton of money, you know, it's little money in, and they, you know, so they can kind of, the problem is, you know, one of the benefits of some of these small indie devs, it's like, you think of like Stormworks, is it's a niche game, and they can go for a niche game, and when something comes up like, hey, if you did this thing that would go against what you want to do for the game, it would bring in 20% more players, we would make more profit. An indie dev studio can say, no, that's not the kind of game we want to make. you know, a big company that has is publicly traded that sells shares of its company on the open market, they're required to make as much profit as they can. You know, that's part of their deal as being a publicly traded company. So they kind of have to go for the what everybody else is doing, and they have to make, you know, something that's pretty friggin' boring and what we've seen before, because they need that return. You know, they need the stock price to go up as their main thing. You know, a small indie dev studio, all they have, like, they could make literally zero profit. Like, some people think profit is the most important thing. It isn't. You know, all you have to do is cover your costs. Like, let's say that I started a game studio and I need 100 grand a year in salary to be happy. And my business expenses are 100 grand a year. Well, I need to bring in 200 grand a year to cover salary and business expenses to break even. So all my game would need to make is 200 grand a year to break even. And then that's it. It doesn't need, that would be zero profit. It doesn't need to make a profit. Profit is anything above that. So profit would be, you know, if it costs 200 grand a year and I make 201 grand a year, I have $1 of profit. You know, you don't need to necessarily make profit, but the problem is when you have a publicly traded company, your shareholders want profit. Like, I own stock. I own a lot of stock. And I want those companies to make a profit because I want my stock value tomorrow to be worth more than it is today. And so that's why a lot of them are terrible, is it's because, you know, it's like the EA thing. You know, they do whatever they can to just scrounge as much money, because if the stock isn't worth more tomorrow than it was today, the investors want to sell their shares, you know, and go buy something else. And so, but you can have these, there's traffic there, you can have these lifestyle businesses, which some people do, where, you know, you can have a small indie dev studio which has 3 devs. They need 300 grand total in salaries, let's say, 300 grand total, and then their operating costs are 500 grand a year, you know, on top of that. So you'd say 800 grand a year. Well, if they bring in $801 a year, they don't make much profit, but the company is perfectly fine, right? They're covering all their costs. There's nothing wrong with that. The employees have a good salary, so they're happy, and the costs are covered. But then you get to some like company like EA. Well, they want to make the stockholders happy. Well, the stockholders wouldn't be happy if they only made $1 profit, because they're not getting any return on their investments, so they don't invest in your company. You know, that's why a lot of those games put out cookie cutter bullshit all the time, is they're just trying to bring in profit every year so that they can increase the stock prices and make the shareholders happy, you know, which is understandable, but it makes for some gross shit. That's why indie dev studios tend to do the new innovative stuff, is because they kind of can, you know. Kind of late stage capitalism problems. You know, of course, if they make a great game that sells tons of units, yeah, they can make a lot of profit doing that too. But you also, like, it's a big risk. It was like Starfield, right? Think of Starfield, how much money they poured into Starfield, and it was garbage, hot garbage. And so, you know, a game like that, if they don't make back what they spent on it, you know, that's bad news, because the stock price is going to drop, and then the investors are pissed because they gave you $100, they wanted $110 back that year, and they got back 90. So they're 20 below what they thought they, you know, were going to get, and they're going to sell their shares and go buy something else. Or they're going to ask to fire everybody in charge. And so then they say, "Oh, we tried something, didn't work." And so they're afraid to try something again. All right, looks like right around Barrow is where the top of the ascent is. So again, JBiz, we don't have to worry about anything because we have to be above flight level 240. We are. So around top of the descent, I'm going to go ahead and ask for a descent down to 8,000. Yeah, exactly. Like Daniel's examples are like Deep Rock Galactic was an awesome game. Played that with some friends for a while. Had a lot of fun with that. That was a cool passion project. It was neat and it was fun. You know, and like some of those games make profit too, but they don't have to. Where then you get a game like you know, he's talking Helldivers 2 with Sony, also a good game. I haven't played. I don't like third-person games, but you know, sometimes those games take off as well and can be good. You know, just because it's from a because it's from a big development studio. There's a reason why big development studios, you know, are big, is because they did have some successful games. But at some point, part of the problem with it is every year, the you know, the ownership class, the people who own the stock.
Endeavor 5016, contact Indianapolis Center on 125.55.
555.
Good day.
They expect the money to raise every year because they want their stock to go up every year, and that's not necessarily always conducive to making good products.
125.55,
You know, because one way to make the stock price keep going up is to decrease the cost of each product by sometimes putting, you know, making it shit, you know.
Indianapolis Center, Endeavor 5016, flight level 300.
I've type rating, I've got a 145 and a CL65.
Radar contact. Continue to FAI IR.
At 2 type ratings. What did they say? Just tell us to go to the next point. Fair, yeah. Yeah, you know, exactly. It's like you have those the studios that make the game, and then like you have Big Daddy, who again, Big Daddy, all they care about is profits. And one of the things that was gross was, you know, again, old man hat on. You know, back in the day, like for example, talk about Boeing. Like Boeing, a company that really sucks lately. Boeing, they used to take their engineers who loved, you know, aviation, who loved building airplanes, and they would hire from within. So they would take an engineer who had started their career at Boeing, worked their entire career at Boeing, moved up the ranks, became a manager, worked as a manager at Boeing for a long time, and then they made them at some point CEO. So you had somebody who knows a lot about making airplanes as their CEO. Then they get bought essentially with their own money by McDonnell Douglas. And McDonnell Douglas was a scummy capitalist, like, you know, really, you know, shitty business. And, you know, their whole thing was like, try to cut as many workers as you can, run it to the bone, you know, cut corners, do whatever you can. And so then the McDonnell Douglas people got in charge. And, not, you know, that's kind of a very specific thing with Boeing and McDonnell Douglas. But then you start talking about, like, the new, kind of the new paradigm shift that happened in the last 20 years was, instead of taking an employee that worked at Boeing for 20, 30 years and who was an engineer who actually designed and built airplanes and making them in charge of a company that designs and builds airplanes, they would hire, like, the former CEO of Kodak. Well, what does the former CEO of Kodak know about airplanes? Nothing. But what they know about is how to increase profit. And one of the ways you increase profit is by firing workers, because you fire a bunch of workers, well, then the other workers are afraid, so at least for the little period of time, they work twice as hard for less money, usually. And so that's a way that these scummy businessmen try to make more profit. Well, then the shareholders go, yay, my stock price went up. Well, the problem is then the product starts turning to garbage, because the other way you do it is you cut corners on the product, and so the product becomes garbage. And because the CEO has no aviation background, they don't understand that cutting corners in aviation is very dangerous, you know, and so doors fall off and things like that, you know, or they fire a bunch of people at a company or a government agency that are necessary to make it run smoothly, you know, so in the hopes of profit or cutting costs, you know. It's kind of that scummy, you know, scummy stuff that kind of happens, and it was, you know, they used to hire from within, and then they started hiring from without. And, like, you know, you see, why is somebody a CEO for Kodak, and then American Airlines, and then you know, a construction company, and then a CEO for a investment firm, is because they don't care that the person knows anything about the business. What they care about is that person was able to increase profits by 1%. And so, well, how do they do it? They usually destroy the company in the process, but the share price goes up, which is their most important thing as a publicly traded company. So it's kind of a gross incentive structure. That's why, like, you know, you're talking about, like, Sony being scummy with Helldivers too, is like, why a lot of these gross business practices have happened is because they need to make sure that the profits from next year are more than the profits from this year. And, you know, if they can't sell more units, they gotta fire workers, or they gotta make the product cost less. They put out a piece of garbage that's not done. You know, it's like, why, people ask, why do these games get rushed? Why don't they just wait till they're finished? Because they want them on the books so that they can show some profit, you know, so that the shareholders, because what happens is that the board meets and the board fires the CEO if the profits didn't go up, you know, so they can't be like, hey, it's going to take us 5 years to get our shit fixed. In the long run, it's going to be better for the company. Just be patient. Like, they don't want to hear that. They want to hear that, you know, my stock was worth more today than it was yesterday. And so that's why a lot of these companies just end up going under eventually, is they just strip them for parts, you know, so that the shareholders are happy.
Endeavor 5016, contact Indianapolis Center on 127.4.
27 BOA.
Going to 127.4 Endeavor 5016. Indianapolis Center, Endeavor 5016, flight level 300.
Alright, what's our time to top of the sun? 13 minutes.
Indianapolis Center radar contact. Continue to biz.
Alright, 13 minutes to top of descent. Alright, so I'm going to go start figuring this out. What we're going to do is we're going to spin our altitude down. But we're not going to change our mode. You see we're still alt capped, so we don't have to worry about that. So we're going to go ahead and put in 8,000, which is our first hard altitude on the arrival. Alright, then we can go to direct intercept page. Gotta work on that mute button so I can cough quickly. Alright, then we're going to look at, what the hell was it? It was, I'll see in a second here. It is, no, not Alley. Doggy. So Doggy, we need to be at Doggy at 8,000, so 900 feet per minute. So usually I want to send around 2,000 feet per minute, 2,500 feet per minute about max. So you see, that's only 900 feet per minute to get to Doggy. And then, what's my mod? I gotta put in for the speeds. That's fine. We can do that. Oh, shit. That screwed it up. Standby. Heading mode. Straighten the heading bug out. That's why you leave your heading bug straightened out. I can easily get back on there. Something got screwed up. Now I gotta go back and fix it. Where are we going here? We're going to JBiz. JBiz. Execute that. Back to nav mode. Alright. Back on JBiz there. JBiz borrow Gavin. Dwuggy at 8,000. I thought I only put in speeds. Yeah, I thought I only put in speeds, but it booted some shit for some reason. Alright, that's fixed now. So direct intercept. The other one we have to worry about is Gavin. We need to be below 17,000. So you notice we only need 700 feet per minute to make Gavin. And for Dwuggy, we need 1,000 feet per minute. So we'll be fine. We don't have to worry about Gavin. But Dwuggy, when Dwuggy gets around 2005, that's when, at most, that's when we're going to want to descend. We don't have any speed restrictions except for 250 below 10. So we do have to consider that. Yeah, I agree with the Kodak analogy. The whole reason I brought up Kodak was I think the Kodak, it was back in the day, they had a Kodak CEO, I think, was the CEO of American, and he didn't know anything about, aviation, pilots, transportation, nothing about that. So he had a technical, potentially technical background, but he didn't, he didn't have an aviation background or like an airline background where they used to hire somebody who had a background in aviation. Like they would take a chief pilot who was a chief pilot in New York, and then they make them the chief pilot of the company, and then they would make them COO, and then they make them a CEO. So that person had been a pilot. They were then the chief pilot at a base. Then they were the chief pilot for the company, and then maybe they were a manager in flight standards, and then they went to chief operating officer, and then they went and they were a CEO. But then they take a guy at Kodak who has no aviation background. So yeah, he's got a technical background, but he doesn't have an aviation background. So that's kind of the point I was making. Now, I'm not a Boeing fan either, but it's definitely not just McDonnell Douglas, but McDonnell Douglas was kind of the gross corporate company. Like, there's a lot of documentaries on it talking about how the motto of the Boeing employees was working together, and then McDonnell Douglas just kind of did very dog eat dog, cut employees, cut the workforce, do stuff like that. It's kind of gross, and it's part of the thing. It's like Boeing took kind of cut the things that they used to do that ensured safety and a quality product, and then they wonder why they're having problems with safety and a quality product, I've never been a huge fan of Boeing. And the Boeing stuff that I like tends to be some of the older school stuff. Certain things with Airbus I'm not thrilled with. I don't like the fact that it auto trims for you. I would rather manually trim. Some of the protection systems are kind of cool just for safety standpoints, but the problem is you lose your ability to pilot when too much stuff's automated. So going and actually learning how the plane stalls and how to manually recover from a stall instead of the plane just trying to prevent you from being in a stall, you lose that skill set, and it's not good to lose your skill as a pilot. Alright, Doggy's at 1200. Let's double check. Gavin's 900. Yes, that's still staying ahead, so Doggy should stay ahead 1200. They're right around the top of the descent. I'll ask for 8,000. Yeah, the whole aircraft manufacturing business is, taking a big change over the years. Like, when I was a kid, they came out with airplanes, new models of airplanes reasonably frequent. Maybe every 10 years or something, they come up with some new models. Now it takes a long, long time to get them certified, which is, often for safety reasons. But it's why, you see a lot of the A320 family is going through a new revamp with the Neos, and then you had the 737's been around for 100 years because it's, they're finally at Max, which is the Max variant of it, and Boeing's starting to talk about new planes, which kind of one of the reasons they had to do that was just because of the, you know, it's just so hard to get everything recertified and new airplanes and growing pains, and so sometimes just kind of revamping the old stuff works better. Yeah, like one thing I noticed, like in training, was the guys. I flew with a couple guys who had auto throttles, and they lost basic pilot skills. Where, for example, the
Endeavour 5016 contact Indianapolis Center on 127.1.
27.1.
Good day.
27.1. Yeah, you can very quickly become reliant on automation.
127.1 Endeavour 5016. Goodbye.
And the problem is it's not free.
Indianapolis
You know,
Center,
because
Endeavour
normally,
5016,
if it's not
flight level
automated,
300.
so
Endeavour
oh, jeez,
5016
wait for this.
Indianapolis Center radar contact. Continue to be RROW.
So, for example, this airplane doesn't have auto throttles. So every time I pitch, I have to change my thrust manually. And so you keep that skill as a pilot, that as you change your deck angle, you need to change thrust to maintain the same airspeed. You maintain that skill set. With auto throttles, you lose that. And as people lose that, natural, like, I pitch the nose up, the thrust goes up. I pitch the nose down, the thrust comes back. You know, it's just very natural when you've done it for a while. When you start getting into auto throttles and you let that do it for you, that's when you'll see people start to stall the airplane out. Is they pitch the nose up, well, now the auto throttle would automatically push it up because they've got it set for 250, and they lose that kind of almost automatic reaction to reach over and push the thrust up. Same thing with you push the nose down, you pull them back so you don't speed up. And so people get complacent. And then the problem is, okay, now on this flight, let's say the auto throttles are MEL'd, so the auto throttles aren't working this flight. And then the person does what they've done 100 times in the last couple months. They pitch the nose up, and they don't bother touching the thrust because they're used to the auto throttles automatically doing it for them. And then the speed bleeds off and they stall. And so you get in a bad situation because of the over-reliance on automation. You see this a lot with pilots where, especially in the airlines, where they're always on autopilot. And so where it would take them 2 seconds to click the autopilot off, fix the problem, have the other pilot set the mode control panel back up, and then re-engage the autopilot, they will reach up and they'll spin their heady knob trying to fix something where if they just clicked the autopilot off and did it by hand, it would be much quicker and safer to do that. And that's because they get over-reliant in the autopilot. And you literally have some airline pilots who will fly the airplane down to 100 feet on autopilot, click it off, and land. And at 600 feet, they turn it on, and they never hand fly any other time. And so they get very nervous that when they have to hand fly. And so it's that complacency where you get too used to the automation. So it's good when you can to hand fly as much as possible. Like, oh, it's a nice clear day. Okay, I'm going to hand fly it up to, 200, 180, and then turn on the autopilot then. And then when, like, say the autopilot breaks or something kicks off, or you have a hydraulic failure and you have to kick off the autopilot because it can't hold enough bank in there to counteract the hydraulic failure, well, your hand flying sucks now because you haven't done it in forever. And that's when you get people in really bad situations. So too much automation can be pretty dangerous. All right, we're about a minute out. I'm going to ask for my descent. We need, what are we at, 300? Right. So 22.
Indianapolis Center, Endeavour 5016. Request flight level 200.
Endeavour 5016 descend and maintain flight level 200.
Descend and maintain flight level 200, Endeavour 5016. Indianapolis Center, Endeavour 5016. Request 10,000 feet.
Endeavour 5016 descend and maintain flight level 200. Expect 10,000 feet.
Descend and maintain flight level 200. Expect 10,000 feet. Endeavor 5016.
Endeavor 5016 descend and maintain 12,000 feet.
Descend and maintain 12,000 feet. Endeavor 5016.
Endeavor 5016 contact Indianapolis Center on 124.225. Good day.
Going to 124.225. Endeavor 5016. Indianapolis Center. Endeavor 5016 is passing flight level 300, descending 12,000 feet.
Endeavor 5016 Indianapolis Center radar contact. Continue to ICK.
Alright, it's not going to let me go all the way down to 8 right now, but that's fine. Let's look. Doggy is 1900, so vertical speed. There's 1900. Again, now we're putting our nose down, we're going to pull the thrust back, where if you had auto throttles, you wouldn't have to do that, and you start losing that skill. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we should be arriving in Cincinnati in about 20 minutes. Weather is still nice clear there, a little bit of light snow. Turn on the fast seatbelt signs so you can return your seats and fasten your seatbelt signs. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival. Alright, PA is complete. Alright, so it's showing 1900 in the box. We got the snowflake. We're beating the snowflakes. And then if we look, Gavin, we got to watch Gavin. So Gavin, we need 1600 feet per minute. So 1900 feet per minute will ensure that we beat Gavin. We have to be below 17,000. So we definitely want to check Gavin, but as you notice, 1.9 is going to beat 1.6, so that's good. And then Dwoggy 1.9 is going to get us the Dwoggy on point. And then the snowflake, as long as we're below that snowflake, we're going to be good on our altitude. So. Yeah, exactly. Like Daniel's talking about, like how his dad bought a manual car or bought an automatic after having a manual. You lose it. You lose that stuff really quickly. And it's kind of like when people are like, oh, you know, we want automated airplanes. Like shit breaks on airplanes all the time. And the problem is you know, let's say we had all automated airplanes and you just press a button and it goes someplace until it breaks, and then you don't have anybody who remembers how an airplane flies. That becomes a problem. And it's like, part of this too is like people need jobs. So it's like this rush to automate stuff is also problematic because people need jobs. And it's like, people need good jobs. You know, and part of the whole satisfaction in life is like doing something that fulfills you. And it's, you start taking that away, you're going to have bigger societal problems. Like Europe right now is trying to do single pilot stuff where you have one pilot in the cockpit. Even if the automation was great and it cut down the workload a lot, pilots still, you know, pass out. Pilots still have bad judgment. Pilots still make simple mistakes that the other pilot catches. That's one of the big things with having two pilots in there. Like, you know, let's say the captain hears the next altitude's 10,000 feet and puts in 11,000, or they hear 10,000 but they said 8,000. They spin in 10,000. But you caught that, no, it's 8,000. You say, hey, no, it's 8,000. And they go, oh, shit. And they put in 8,000. That happens all the time. You know, and it's having that other person there. Plus, you know, the people value, like, you know, pilots do make mistakes, but they also, you know, understand the situation that they're a meat in a tube going really fast, and they understand the situation, you know, and they understand the consequences, and they make human decisions, which, you know, are important. You don't need to bring them all back because some of that stuff is truly redundant, but having two pilots is a good idea. I think it's a non sequitur, Avrix. And are you just trying to be difficult today? Because you can say goodbye if you want to be difficult today. You're just gonna be a jerk today. That's fine. You can go. But was that what my claim was? That we need to bring back 4-person crews? No, my claim was that we should keep 2-person crews. And that's for standard flights. International flights, we still should have 3 or 4-person crews. You gotta be difficult. You can say adios. Don't need you here. Let's see. What's we looking at here? Gavin's still good at 1400, and then where the hell was it? Dougie 2000. So Dougie's still looking good at 2000. The 3-degree glide slope or 3-degree descent rate down to Dougie. I'd switch over to speed mode. Twitch chat. What about Twitch chat? Twitch chat. I've got Twitch chat up too. What did I say? Twitch chat? What are you talking about, Daniel? I don't know what you're talking about. I've got Twitch and YouTube on the same chat screen. So I don't know. Did I say Twitch? Because I do have Twitch chat up as well. All right. Let's see. Coming through 180. Lights. Alright. Descent check. Altimeters. I need the altimeter. Let's see what the altimeter setting is. Let's check the latest ATIS. We've got Lima. 300 at 98 statute miles. Few at 1400 minus 11. 3039. 3039. Yeah, over speed. Okay. Alright, descent checklist. Altimeters 3039 are cross-check. Minimums are going to be MDA of 1060. Landing data is 45-144. Approach briefing's complete. Seatbelt signs on. Pressurization set. Descent check's complete. Alright, Gavin is still looking good at 1800. And Dougie is 1900. So that's good. Because we need to make 250 at 10, so we're going to go ahead and...
5016 contact Indianapolis Center on 135.575.
35575. Hey, 575.
Going to 135.575, Endeavor 5016.
Alright. I'm going to bring it back, start slowing us. I don't want to have to use too much spoiler if I can avoid it. Alright, Dougie is at, what are we looking at? Dougie 17. That will help us slow. So by beating that descent rate, by going faster than we need to go for the descent rate, that lets me now bring the nose up to help slow us down. Because we got about 3,600 feet to lose 40 knots. Alright, so you see Dougie is past FLM, so likely we're not going to FLM, but you never know with the game what it's going to do, so I've got it in there in case I need it, but that gives me all the points after FLM too. So if we look at Dougie, we're now down to 1400 as we start getting in that lower atmosphere. Got more drag, it's slowing us down. As we slow down, we need less of a descent rate, which lets us bring our nose back up and slow even more. And then we still do have spoilers if I need them, which I try not to use spoilers if I can avoid it, because that's kind of your last resort. Once you're on spoilers and you're at full spoilers, you've got nothing else to help you slow down really at this altitude. So it's kind of good to hold off. And we've got another 2,000 feet, 200 feet per minute rather, we can lose. And here's 250 right there. So there's 250. So we've made our speed within 1,500 feet of 10. And we didn't need the spoilers. So let's see where we at. Doggy's at 1,100. Let's go to 1,300 just to beat it, because we have to be at Doggy at 8. And when it goes to alt cap, it likes to reduce the descent rate. So you want to make sure you're within 300 feet of that altitude or it's a bust. But we're on speed for 250. Yeah, you kind of had a snarky comment before, too. Boeing fans sure like to blame McDonnell Douglas for everything. That was a snarky comment. You're making some snarky comments. It's just a warning. Don't go beyond snarky. I don't have a problem with snarky, but you start getting beyond that. So, that's what that's about. All right, let's go ahead and sting them. All right, approach checklist. Flight nav instruments verified. Cabin notification complete. Approach check is complete. Right. Need 1,000 feet per minute for Doggy. So we're going to beat it. We're good. We're at 1,300 feet per minute. 250 on the speed. We're good there. All right, once we hit Doggy, we're going to go on heading mode. So... And then here's the approach right there. We've got Blue Needles, which is our localizer, Loc 2 in there. So that's our preview window, our preview of the approach. Out of 9,000 for 8,000. Yeah. Let's go 251. All right, there's our VT. You should be able to see the VT and V2 inputs when you're at altitude. You can't in game, so that's why I just use the tablet to put them in, because you can't really see them when you should be able to. All right, so you notice we're in alt cap, and now it's going to slow down our rate of descent. So we only need 300 feet per minute to go to Doggy. We're currently at 400 feet per minute, so it will automatically start decreasing our rate of descent with alt cap, and that's why you want to beat it, because you can bust your altitude if you keep it exactly on the snowflake, because it will automatically slow down the descent rate at the last 1,000 feet or so, and you'll end up busting your altitude. So like now as we cross Doggy, it's in alt cap. We are within 100 feet, we're 50 feet rather, and so we're legal. And now we can go to heading mode as we've crossed our last waypoint, and we're waiting for our, I got a tune.
Indianapolis Center
I never
Endeavour
flipped over because I
5016
got
is at
busy.
8,000 feet, climbing 12,000 feet.
We're not climbing at 12,000 feet. Where we're supposed to be.
5016 Indianapolis Center altimeter 30 decimal for tree radar contact. Continue to Bruise.
Bruise, okay, let's see. Bruise, huh? What the hell is that? Bruise. What the fuck, Bruise? We don't go to Bruise on this one. Is the game gonna be annoying again? Bruise? What? We're not going to Bruise. We're going to runway 36. It's having me go to 27. God damn it. Alright, that's fine. Give me a vector.
Indianapolis Center Endeavour 5016 requesting vector to next waypoint.
Supposed to be going to 36 center, you sucker.
Endeavour 5016, turn right heading 040.
Alright, it's going to 27. So we gotta change up the brief. Awesome. Telling you this game sometimes. Got the ATIS that's telling me 36 center.
Endeavour 5016, please acknowledge.
Yeah, I'm busy here. You got me all fucked
Turn
up
right
here
heading
because you
040,
didn't tell me.
Endeavor 5016.
So they want me going bruise. I'll just manually
Endeavor
make this.
5016 contact Cincinnati approach on 123.875. Good day.
Bruise. Alright, let's go to nav. Go to bruise, please.
Endeavor 5016,
Hell
please
is it
acknowledge.
doing? Stand by, stupid. Busy.
123.875,
Okay, it is turning. It's just taking its
Endeavor
time.
5016. Goodbye.
They're changing my runway to runway 27.
Cincinnati approach Endeavor 5016 is passing 8,000 feet, climbing 12,000 feet.
Endeavor 5016 Cincinnati approach altimeter 30.4 tree radar contact continue.
Alright, they got me going to
Endeavor
bruise.
5016, you are 17 miles south. Descend and maintain
Yeah.
5,000 feet. Expect RNAV Zulu runway 27 approach via Bobku transition.
Bobku.
Clear to Bobku.
Alright, they're completely changing runways on me. So 5,000. Vertical speed.
Endeavor 5016, descend and maintain 5,000
Yeah, I'm working on it. Gotta acknowledge your approach here in a second here.
Descend and maintain
Alright,
5,000
RNAV
feet. Expect
Zulu.
RNAV Zulu runway 27 approach via
Gonna get
Bobku
busy real
transition.
fast.
Clear to Bobku Endeavor 5016.
RNAV Zulu 227. Bobku.
Endeavor 5016 traffic is 2 o'clock 4 miles at 4,500 feet Cessna Skyhawk. Report them in sight.
Let's go to flight plan and do it this way. Bobku. Alright. So she's turning me both directions. That's awesome. This game sometimes completely changing runways at the last second. This is awesome. Alright, let's go down another 500 feet per minute. Alright, we got an approach to brief now. A new approach. So RNAV Zulu 27. That's Yankee. Do I have a Zulu? I don't have the Zulu. Okay. I have the Yankee. We have Bobku. We got Bobku on there. That'll work. Alright. This game, I'm telling you. Because what they would have done is they would have told you what, back on the arrival, they would have told us to expect runway 27. They would have told us right around top of descent. And we would have had it for top of descent. And so that would have told us to program the box to have bruise in there, not what we had in there, out of 6 for 5. And we wouldn't be doing this ridiculous turn back because we were setting up for the 3.6s. Now it's taking us in on 2.7. So it's just the ATC fails in this game because it doesn't tell you when it's supposed to of what you're supposed to be doing. All right, and I'm going to just go direct Bobku again. Try to get it to straighten out. See, now it's got an over 90 degree. ATC is required to give you turns of less than 30 degrees for joins. So it's like, this sort of shit would never happen in real life. So I'm going to actually go on a vector because I got to get myself on a less than 30 degree because ATC is not doing it. I'm slowing down to 220 at the moment because they've got us all behind. It's like, this sort of shit doesn't happen. It's just, it's insanity. Let's clear that real quick. Yeah, so I'm going to keep us on a vector, and then I'm going to put us on a join to Bobku. And I'll do a quick brief here. So I get the RNAV Yankee, which will work for the Zulu. 276 final approach course, 2004 at Wegda. 1075, so it's going to be 1080. 1080 plus 50, so 1130. And we're going to go down to 1200. Visual backed up with the RNAV Yankee. Let's see, what do we got? 3000 MSA. 5 at Vobku, 4,400 at Zipvo. Block is 3,500. Wegda is 2,4. And then let's see, touchdown zone elevation is 875 plus 50 is 925. 925, so it'd be 139 slash, that's fine, we'll leave that in there. And then 144 at, was it Wegda? Wegda. All right, that's good. Alright, and we'll keep the speed down, because I gotta get ourselves a join here, and I don't want to come screaming in. Might have to shut off the traffic again if they try to land us on top of an airplane, because they like to do that. Gotta rebrief the taxi instructions, because they changed runways on me. So we're now going in for runway 27. So 27, we're going to try to get off at, let's say, Delta or Echo. Delta or Echo, and then it'll be Jules to the ramp, likely in Juliet 2. Right, rebriefed. So ask for another approach checklist. Approach checklist complete, verified, flight nav instruments, cabin notification still complete. That's complete. All right. So I gotta get this, see how it's got this backwards angle that is insanity? We'd have to we'd blow through the course and be way the hell over here to come back, and then it would be a zoo. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give ourselves a vector because the game's screwy. Yeah, it's, let me look at ATIS. Did they change the ATIS when I wasn't looking? Simultaneous approaches in use. Expect ILS approach to runway 36 center. So the ATIS still says 36 center, so I don't know what the game's doing. The game is supposed to be working off real life ATC, so. When the ATIS says you land in 36 center, and I check the ATIS, I think I'm landing in 36 center. That's the problem when I let the game decide the approach. It does this sort of shit. Alright, we should be able to join now, so let's go ahead and I'm going to cut the arc to Vobku.
Endeavour 5016 contact Indianapolis Center on 123.925. Good day.
Going to 123.925, Endeavour 5016. Indianapolis Center, Endeavour 5016, 5,000 feet.
Endeavour 5016, Indianapolis
4-3.
altimeter
Pressure's high.
for tree radar contact. Continue to Vobku.
4-3.
Endeavour 5016 contact Cincinnati approach on 123.875. Good day.
Going to 123.875, Endeavour 5016.
Alright, direct Vobku now. And we'll go to nav.
Indianapolis Center Air Transport 82.
Cincinnati approach, Endeavour 5016, 5,000 feet.
Endeavour 5016 Cincinnati approach altimeter tree 0.44 radar contact. Continue to Vobku.
Vobku. Alright, we're going to do a DDA, and we're going to go constant angle. So we're going to go constant angle in there. We're at 5. 5's looking good.
Endeavour 5016, descend and maintain 4,400 feet.
4,400.
Descend and maintain 4,400 feet, Endeavour 5016.
Alright, what's the temp? We're going to turn on cowls. Got visible moisture and we're below freezing. Turn on the cowls. Alright, see if I can get track IR set up so that we can use that in a second. Alright. Alright, flaps 8. Flaps 20. Any other instructions? Good?
Endeavor 5016, descend and maintain
3-5.
3,500 feet.
3-5.
Descend and maintain 3,500 feet, Endeavor 5016.
Cincinnati approach Cessna November 550 Tango is at 8,300 feet,
We are
descending
not allowed.
2,500
Please remain
feet.
seated until we have stopped.
Cessna November
Right, I'm looking for
550
the,
Tango, Cincinnati approach altimeter 30.44 radar contact to continue.
Let's see, when's Wegda? What's Wegda? Wegda is 2-4. So we can go ahead and do 800 feet per minute here. And we're going to have to go to
Endeavor
9.
5016, you are 11 miles east of Cincinnati. Contact Cincinnati Tower on 118.975 when inbound on the approach.
Tower on 118.975, Endeavor 5016. Cincinnati Tower, Endeavor 5016,
gear down.
miles east inbound, RNAV
Flaps
Zulu
30.
runway 27 approach.
Endeavor 5016, Cincinnati Tower. Altimeter 30.44, wind 278 at 11.
Flaps 45.
Cleared RNAV Zulu runway 27 approach.
We're clear the approach.
Cleared RNAV Zulu runway
I got
27
the
approach,
runway in
Endeavor
sight.
5016.
Landing checklist, landing gears down 3 green, flaps 45. 45. Thruster versus arm. Landing check is complete. I gotta increase my rate here. Gotta get my rate down here. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and pick the autopilot off. I don't have time to screw with it too much. I gotta get down. Getting slow here. Trying to talk on the radio too. Gotta catch back up on this. 2-4 is where we should be at Wegda. So I gotta fix that here real quick. Right, there is 2-4 vertical speed. Let's get that down. And then I gotta check the rate. 900 is good. There's 900. Alright, we're good. I gotta catch up on that snowflake. I'm
Endeavor
a little bit high.
5016, wind 306 at Niter.
Clear
Clear
to
to
land.
land runway 27.
Clear to land. Click it.
Clear to
Thanks.
land runway
Starting to lag
27,
out.
Endeavor 5016.
Alright. Alright, we're on the snowflake now. So we're on we're on glide for this. Want to get stabilized here, so I want to stay stabilized the whole way in. So I'm going to descend quickly until I get to 1,000 feet per minute, until I get to 1,000 feet above field, so that we're stabilized. Alright, that's why I took it off and hand flew it. Was again, it's better to hand fly it in this situation. Alright, and we're going to spin it down all the way to, I believe it was 1,200 feet. I think it was 900 still. Going 1,100. A little bit fast, I got to descend this. Alright, and then whatever the missed approach was. Missed approach, 3,000. Alright. This is all work you'd be calling for the other pilot to do. Again, too much work for one person to be doing here. That's why approach is not all that stable. There we go, 3,000. Alright, clear to land. Alright, we're stabilizing it a little bit here. Dave will continue.
400. 300. Sink rate.
Correcting. There we go, we're on now.
Minimums. Sink rate.
Correcting.
100.
Trimming this yoke sucks.
Sink rate. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Let's work that center line. Alright, spoilers green, 90 knots.
Endeavour 5016.
And this should be Echo, I believe. Trying to remember off the top of my head. I gotta look. Don't have time to look at the chart, but this is. We want this one on the next one, so we're good on this one.
Endeavour
And I never turned on track hours.
Contact ground on 121.7.
Alright, let's go ahead and stop right here. We did ice up, so the cowls are on. We're gonna leave the cowls on. Because we iced up, we're gonna go to flaps 20.
Wind tree 06 at Niner. Clear to land runway
You can
tree
tell the ice
6.
because we have it there, and it's also ice there.
Going to 121.7 Endeavour 5016.
Alright.
Cincinnati ground Endeavour 5016 taxi to the gate.
Endeavour 5016 taxi to gate
Gets his
55
strokes
via
up.
taxiway Kilo November.
Alright, what did they say? Kilo November.
Taxi
That's
to gate
wrong.
55 via taxiway Kilo November Endeavour
Hey, look at the taxi
5016.
diagram. Kilo November. No. Oh, they're taking me somewhere else. We want to go Kilo. Kilo Juliet 2 is where we're actually taxiing. So we'll go Kilo Juliet 2. Alright, clear right. And we're definitely going to have 2 minutes on the engine, so we don't have to worry about that. Alright, after landing checklist. After landing checklist is complete. And Juliet 2 is what we're looking at next. Yeah, there's a lot of work to do there. It's, again, why I think you need 2 pilots at least. Like, you know, you need to put in the DDA altitude. So I needed somebody to spin in 2400 for me, vertical speed, spin it down, and then I needed to get the DDA in there, and then I needed, once we got 300 feet below 3000, I needed 3000 put back in, get the fuck out of the way. Thank you. I think this next one is actually Juliet 2. They don't have any signs, so I can't tell. And then we're one of the gates. Apparently, they have no gates at CVG here. That's the gate right there we'll take, because they don't have any real gates.
Cincinnati ground Brickyard 4657.
Go ahead, and APU's coming on. Cal can shut off.
Brickyard 4657 heavy
And it's
pushback
dinging me
requested.
because we are still in icing conditions. That's actually it right there. We're in icing conditions, and I've got no anti-ice on, but we need to shut the cowls off 30 seconds prior to arriving at the gate so they can cool off. So that is that's a related message, but it's one we can ignore because we need to shut those cowls off 30 seconds before arrival at the gate. Right, we're going to shut down the engines and do the fuel valve check. So we're going to shut down the left engine. Alright, and we'll do that real quick. The parking brake, nose wheel steering, people are down, check the electrics. APU is covering the load, it is. Check DC, back. Alright,
Cincinnati ground Brickyard.
go ahead and we'll shut off the
Requesting the end of pushback.
fuel pumps.
Brickyard 4657 heavy request to end pushback received.
Pump, press. That's good, and we can shut down the other one. And we'll go ahead and we'll get everything set here.
With Oscar ready to taxi IFR. Brickyard 4657 heavy taxi to and hold short of runway 36 right using taxiway November Quebec Papa. Contact tower on 1 tree 25 when ready.
Alright, shutdown checklist. Now let's go ahead and do some things while we're doing it. We'll do what the stuff that would really happen here. Okay, let's get track air off. It just becomes obnoxious.
Runway 36 right via taxiway November Quebec Papa Brickyard 4657 heavy.
Where is JetBridge?
Cincinnati ground Endeavor 5016.
Alright, shutdown checklist. Seatbelt signs are off. Beacon is off. Generators electric set. Fuel pumps off. Nose wheel steering is off. Probes, windshield heat off. Anti-ice is off. Hydraulic pumps off. Thrust lever is shut off. Transponder standby. Parking brake set. Shutdown checklist complete. Alright, good. We're going to call it quits on this one, so we'll do a secure checklist after that. Alright, secure checklist, parking brake set. IRSs are going to off. This is a read and do. Thrust reversers off. This one is a pain to see because it's there. So we'll get track IR back on, and I gotta go like this. There we go. Emergency lights off. Cargo switch off. It is. Recirc fan off. APU start stop. APU power fuel off. External lights, nav and logo. External power off. Battery master off. DC server switch, dome light, and boarding lights are off. That was good. Good flight in a CVG. Do you play with some sim setup or just control? I've got a yoke and thrust levers, but the spring is too stiff in the yoke. And in real life, when you trim, you trim it so that it will take the new position. And so, theoretically, if you had a yoke like this, what it should do is when you trim, it should move where the springs are. So it should move the springs. So when I trim nose down, it should move the springs forward. So the new center position is more forward. And then when I trim back, it should move the new center position back. It doesn't do that. So the problem is I always have spring pressure. So what you're doing in real life is you push against the pressure, and then you trim until there's no more pressure and you can take your hand off. So what you're used to in a real airplane is you push the pressure to make the plane do what you want, then you trim until there's no more pressure. And so it's tough in game. That's why I get those sink rates, is because I'm having to push against the spring the whole time. So I have to push and trim, and then push again, and then trim, and so the plane kind of wobbles. So it's like some people have cut open this thrust lever quadrant, and they put in rubber bands instead of the springs and everything else, and really what you need is a linear actuator to move the springs to make it act like it was really being trimmed or have some sort of force feedback, whereas you trim off the force feedback. But they don't really have that. The Honeywell is supposed to be pretty good. I might get the Honeywell, but that's the main problem with trimming, is you can't really trim properly, and it makes it so that the approaches aren't as stable as they would be IRL. Like IRL, I could literally take my hands off the yoke, and I could take my hands off the thrust levers, and my speed would stay on speed, and my pitch would stay the same. And so I can fly with 2 fingers on the yoke, because you're trimming off all the pressure. And you got that trim switch going constantly. It just doesn't work that way with my flight yoke, or any flight yoke, really, unless they might have some, $2,000 one that does it. But that's the problem, so it makes it tough to do those. And then the sim's a lot more sensitive, and you don't have the feel you'd have. You could feel if you're sinking a little bit more in real life. You can't feel that. But alright guys, if you liked the video, make sure you like the video. If you're new and you enjoyed it, consider subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next one.